Well, hello everyone. My name is Stephen Farrig, owner of Campus Sportswear Screen Printing and Embroidery, and today I'm going to cover some of the topics that we went over in our webinar last week on how to set up your shop in almost under 30 minutes. So I'm going to go over some of the topics that we covered. As always, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help you out at any time. So first thing we're going to do when we log into Printavo and we're going to find our home screen is the calendar. We're going to go ahead and click on My Account. And My Account is where you are going to set up your shop. Very simple, one page. If you work from top to bottom, you're able to go through all the basics about your shop in order to get started. So you can go ahead and set your timing, your passwords. You can go ahead and upload a logo here for your shop. It'll appear on every invoice, your Facebook, your Twitter, a custom URL brand if you'd like, so that your invoices look a little bit more like your website. And if you scroll down here, you can actually take this piece of code, and it's an inquiry code, and you can go ahead, it's basic HTML, you can copy it into a page on your website, and it'll be a basic form that when customers fill out, it'll actually come right into Printavo. As you move down here through the invoice information, you can add your sales tax, you can start your invoice number. Say I started 1,000. You can choose whether or not you want your work orders and invoices to print out in portrait or landscape mode. And you can put terms and conditions, no returns, all sales final if you'd like. Purchase orders, if that's a feature that you're using, you can put an email in there so that it automatically emails purchase orders to a specific someone to let them know that goods have arrived. If we continue scrolling down, we would go to the shipping labels. We integrate with a company called EasyPost, and you can print your shipping labels directly from Printavo. You would set up an account with EasyPost, get the live secret API key, put that in there, and you are all set to go. If you keep moving down, you can integrate with 3 catalogs. We integrate with Alphabroder, Sanmar, and SNS with their pricing as well. If you have your own custom catalog, you can upload that as well. That's something you could send to us and we can help you out. But for the most part, all products you're going to find are through these 3 vendors. If you do integrate with and you use QuickBooks Online, you can go ahead and click the Connect to QuickBooks button. It's going to walk you through a basic process to hook up your Intuit QuickBooks with your Printavo. If you see down here, there's 4 basic functions for importing and exporting data. As you're starting, the most important thing you're probably going to do is import your customers. If you're using, say you're using QuickBooks or say you're using another invoicing software, you can actually download a template and upload the template with your customers in there. This is something we'll absolutely do for you. So if you'd like to shoot us a message, we can absolutely help you out to import your customers. Put in your password here to save it, and your basic settings are all done. Now, My Account is where you're going to see all the settings for Printavo, and we're going to dive into what these settings do and the basic ones that you're going to need to get started. So the first thing we're going to do after we have set up our shop is we're going to actually create users. And the reason I want to create users is that we're going to be able to kind of do a whole shop overhaul. The purpose of Printavo is very simple, easy shop management, and part of its success is allowing everyone in your shop to use it to some capacity. So we're going to go in here, we're going to click on users, and you're going to see I already started creating some users, but your users, you can give different limitations. You can create admin users that can see everything. You can create users that can only see transactions they've created. If you have production crews that you don't want to see pricing, you can go ahead and make sure they can't see pricing. But the first thing you want to do is everyone in your shop that would be using this to some capacity, screen printers, production managers, office managers, graphic designers, go ahead and make them a user. What I'll show you at the end of this is how many users I have in my shop, and that's across salespeople, production assistants. Everyone has a different role, and you're going to see a little bit about how that works. So I'm just going to add another user. Very easy to do. We'll give him an email, and I'll just use, let's see, I'll use one of my old emails. And we can give him phone number, password, and what they'll be able to do. That username is already, that email has already been taken. Let's see here. We'll give them another one right there. That's already been taken. Campus.inc. And we'll put in a password for them. And there they should be. There we go, a user. So you can add as many users as you'd like. We'll add another user right here, and we'll call them graphic designer. And we'll put in there. We'll create users there. Okay. We'll make another user, and we'll call them the production manager. Like I said, you can make as many users as you want on here. I actually mean, write these all out and put them in there because they'll help you in the future, absolutely. Okay, I think we have enough users now. Okay, so you're going to see a little bit later why it's so important to have all your users in there. For now, I'm going to keep all my users as super administrators. That pretty much means they have full access to Printavo. If you'd like to limit the things that they can do, you can go ahead and click on those. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to build our workflow. And Printavo has basically two basic features of the calendar. One basic feature is invoice statuses. And invoice statuses is where you can go in and you can actually go through your workflow and write it out. And that's an exercise I suggest that you do as you're setting up your shop. So what we would do is we would go into customize order statuses. Okay, and you can have as little or as many statuses as you want. When I switch over to my shop's Printavo, I'm going to just show you exactly how many statuses we have, and throughout the years we've added more. So if I start with just basic screen printing, I'm going to go through the ordering process and start to write out my workflow. So once a customer is sent a quote, the next thing that happens is their quote has been approved. After their quote has been approved, we're going to move over to the art department, and we're going to say mockup, please mock up, approved, and send to customer. Okay, that'll be one stage of the art department, and that's proof to customer. We'll just leave it as proof to customer. Then we'll do another one in the art department, and we'll say customer proof not approved, art department customer proof approved. Then we can go over into our production department and say, let's see, our film delivered. Say you're using, you're printing your film out, and your artists need to do that. And then from there, it'll be screens burned, ready to print. And then maybe we could say one is completed, one has been picked up, perhaps another one is out for delivery, and we could just leave it at that for now. So I went through a basic workflow of a screen printing shop of how I think it should be done. One thing you can do is you can color code your departments. So say you want the art department to be yellow, you can make them yellow. Say you want your production manager that's burning your screens, or to be blue. Say you want completed to be black, picked up to be green, say out for delivery could also be green. Okay. So that's a very, very basic workflow. And then what you can do is you can actually go into your calendar and you can start creating a job. 3 very easy ways to create a job. First thing you're going to have to do is create a customer. So we'll make a test customer here, and we can add different contacts. Say there's one company and 4 different people in there. You can add as many or as little contacts as you want. You can add a billing department, shipping. You can make them tax exempt. Okay. You can add notes to it. You can add a special sales tax for them. Say they're a customer that has a different type of sales tax, say across state lines. You can go ahead and give them a different sales tax. And you can also add a resale number if you want to take their tax exempt number and put that on file. Okay. So once you create your customer, they are now in your system. You can go ahead and do 2 different things. If you're ready to place an order, say a customer's walking in, doesn't need a quote, you can go ahead and create an invoice. But say a formal process, you want them to go ahead and approve that quote. So we're going to call this order test order. And if you go in right here, you'll see all of your information you'll be able to add on one page for the job. Notes, like we say in other tutorials, are public. Production notes are private. If you hover over the little question mark, it's going to actually tell you what's going on in there. So notes, maybe I'm going to put the ink colors on there, and I'm going to say 2-color, left chest, royal, and black. And then I'm going to say 2-color, big back, royal, and purple. Now in my production notes, I can put things that are very, very specific, like drop design on back 6 inches to allow for custom nicknames. Or what's another production note? Something really, really simple. We could say customer would like let's think of a production note. I don't know, customer would like items folded individually upon completion. Okay, so these are only things that you can see in your shop. Then you go into adding different items, and you can add different categories. And so, you could add, say we're going to do t-shirts, and here's where you can take a product, look up the SKU. I put in 8000 for Gildan 8000s. Go in there and you can put a color. In this case, we'll put white, and you can start to add your sizes. Okay. Say I wanted to add 2XLs and I price them a little differently. I might make a new category for 2XLs. I'm going to still use that same 8000, and I'm going to say I want 10 2XLs. Okay. Now, one thing that we have in Printavo is the ability to upload all the files for both your graphic designers to use, your artists to use, and your customers to use and see. So if you click on this arrow right here, you can go ahead and click on Attach Mockups. And when you attach a mockup, you can literally select any file from your computer, and we integrate with other different platforms like Google Drive, Gmail, Dropbox. If you have a webcam, you could take a picture right from it. But we'll say for this case, we're just going to take a picture of a shirt, and I'm just going to upload one that I have on my computer. Forgive me if it's different than the actual product, but I can go ahead and I can upload a PNG that my customers can see. At the same time, I can also upload a PDF for my artists to grab later from home if they're doing their artwork from somewhere else. So I can upload, a vector ready file, and that when you go ahead and save when you go and access it from another device, another computer, you can actually download that art file and use it. So Printavo is also a file storage tool, and really, for the most part, unlimited storage. That's part of your monthly bill that you would pay to Printavo, is that you have unlimited storage there. One other feature that we have built into Printavo is the ability to actually give it some pricing. So we do have different pricing matrices that you can customize. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to select the screen printing matrix, and I'm going to say it's a 2-color front, and I'm going to write there front left chest, and I'm going to say select matrix. I'm going to say 2-color back, big back print 11 inches wide. And when I go ahead and click save and insert pricing, based on the matrix that we set up, Printavo will automatically price that for you. Now say I add $1 more for those 2 XLs, I can just increase it right there. Okay, so you have the ability to add different categories. Say I wanted to do a category and I wanted to just say contract printing, because that was a category, and I could go in there and I could say, well, I'm doing $1.50 a side, or $1.50 for this side, and I'm doing 25 pieces right there. And I could say customer supplied products, and their white t-shirts, say they were Gildan 5000s. So you can go in there, you can really make any different category you want. Say you do cups, or you do any kind of weird different printing, you can go ahead and put them in there. So when you go ahead, and the last thing you would do is set your dates. You have a production due date, which would show up on a calendar, and a customer due date. So we'll say the customer due date is next Friday, but the production date we're going to make for that Wednesday. That's when I think my shop is going to produce these items. You can also add different fees. Say you had shipping and it was $12.99. You could add that in there. Okay. So once that is in there, you can go ahead and move it along the workflow, and that's where as you create an invoice, you're going to start to send it through the workflow. So you can actually talk to your customers straight from Printavo. You can go ahead and you can email them the quote, and you can set up preset emails if you'd like, and you'd say quote approve. Hi, can you approve this job so we can move forward with there? The second you press send, automatically sends it to their email. If they respond back to it, it will show up both in your email and in this messaging tool right here. Once you send that to them, they can go ahead and approve it. Okay, you'll get an email that says they approved. They'll get an invoice that looks something like this. When they hit approve, it's going to ask for their initials. Really important in the printing industry. And it'll say, as I refresh this, 1 second here, it was approved at this time. Now we can say the quote has been approved, or it's just out for delivery. But once the quote's been approved, we can start to work on artwork. So I can say, art department, please prove to the customer. Now the art department can go ahead, they can get everything ready, they can re-upload their proofs, they can go ahead and send that email right back to the customer and say, artwork, hello, can you please approve this artwork before we print? Some people do quotes and proofs in 2 steps. In this case, you could do it in 1 or 2. So say the proof has been sent to the customer, and the proof has not been approved yet, you could highlight it as yellow. And what you're going to see, if we go over to the month of April, we'll see that that order is yellow right there. Okay, so on everyone's calendar, they're going to know that the customer proof has not been approved. The second you get a call that it's been approved, you can say art department customer proof has been approved, and that'll change colors. Maybe it's not a good idea to have proof approved and not approved the same color. I can go ahead and change that real easily right there. Say I'll make customer proof approved, different color. I can go back to my calendar, and there we go. That customer is in there, it's in the calendar, and that everyone in your shop knows the proof's been approved. Now then, someone's going to go ahead and separate the artwork, get the film ready for the shop. When that person does their job, they can go ahead and change it to, if they burn the screens, they can change it to screens burned. And finally, when it's done on the floor, they can say completed. Your office staff can mark it as picked up or out for delivery. So that's kind of the workflow of one different way that you can run Printavo. Now, one feature you can add are tasks. So invoice statuses are where the job is at, or the progress of the job. Tasks are things that you're going to need the shop to do along the way. So if we go down here and we go ahead and click on preset task list, you can actually add tasks to every single job. So say one task for every single job is always going to be to bring the boxes from shipping to production area. And that's always going to be assigned to the production manager. Okay? You can add that as a task. Then you could say fold shirts. That's always going to be assigned to Joe Smith. And then you could have another task that says call customer to let them know you have sent artwork. Maybe you want to make them call as well as send an email. But you can assign that to the graphic. You can assign that to the graphic designer. What's going to happen though in your tasks is whoever logs in is going to see what tasks they have to do for what invoices. And on your calendar, when you go back and see a job, we can go ahead and click on Show Tasks, and I know that I need to fold the shirts and bring the shirts to UPS. When I click those, I can then know that they've been done. Oops, sorry. They've been done, and they've been done in this case by Bruce because I'm logged into his demo account. So tasks are steps along the way. Invoice statuses are different stages of the process. And you can customize these however you want. I've seen it done a bunch of different ways. This is your opportunity to get creative in your shop and really work through it. So that is kind of how the workflow works. Now, this is where the workflow gets very exciting because you can actually add status change notifications along the way. What that basically means is that when someone changes the color of a job, someone else can get a message telling you to move the job along. So, for instance, when a quote is out, okay, and it's green, and the customer approves it, you can go ahead and send, say you have someone in your office that is strictly working on art, okay? You can send that person an email, graphicdesigner@graphicdesigner.com, and say, hi, this invoice has been approved. Please start working on art. And then maybe when the art department works on a job, they send the office back a message and say, art has been sent to customer. Please follow up for approval. And maybe this art department customer proof not approved sends that same graphic designer an email and says, hey graphic designer, your artwork was not approved. Please try again. And then, perhaps when that job is completed, it sends the customer an email and says, your job is ready for pickup or delivery. Please communicate with office to get your products. I don't know. Okay. And that's a basic workflow. So those automated messages is what's going to drive your business or your workflow from one step to another. Now that's how invoice status notifications work. The next feature that I want to go over is called automation. And automation is where if that customer goes ahead and clicks the approved button, you can now automatically change the status to quote approved. So this is where if they go ahead and click that button at the top, it'll go ahead and change that status to quote approved. Or when a quote is approved, it could send them a message saying you need to pay 25%. Or if a customer or a quote is paid in full, you can change the status to, I don't know, I don't have one set up for it, but you could have a status set up to say paid an invoice, please send a thank you card. I don't know. And so those are how that's how automation works. Okay, so we've gone through kind of the calendar. We've set that up. We've set up our workflow. You can go ahead and you can change your statuses whenever you want. I like to add panic buttons, and I'll put one panic button that we all can relate to as bad artwork problem, font not found. How often does that happen to us, right? Or let's do an artwork problem. Let's see. Need better vector artwork. Or we'll do another one and say artwork problem. Artist is confused. And we can go ahead and save those statuses. And what we can do is right away, whenever I make a status, I'm going to go ahead and make a status change notification to say if there's an artwork problem, send the office an email and say you need to contact the customer and get better art. So whenever that artwork problem, say my artist who works remotely has an issue, they can go ahead and tag it as red. So you can have a lot of fun with these. I build more out every single day when I find an issue with our system or something or a feature that someone really wants. I go ahead and make it a status. So like I said earlier, messages, you can message with your customers directly through here. Those will copy over to your email that you set up. You can go through your tasks. Inquiries, those are the ones that come in from your website. So you can start turning those inquiries right into customers right away. If I go over to my account, I'm going to talk a little bit about pricing. You have the ability to create pricing matrices in whatever way you'd like. I'll show you a couple different ones, but this is using your prices from the catalogs that are already there. You can go ahead and you can add different columns or rows based on how you run your business. Say you do pricing at 12, 24, 48, 96 pieces, and you can start to say when I get a customer that wants 12 pieces, I'm going to take the price of that Gildan 5000 or whatever it is, I'm going to mark it up by 150%. I'm going to add $2 for a one color front, one color back. Perhaps I'm going to add $175 for a two color front. And you can go ahead and you can customize these columns however you want. So say this is just one color, no flash. And maybe this is one color flash. And maybe this is two color, no flash. And this is a two color flash. And maybe this is a one color front, one back. You know, you can mark these up however you want and however creative you want to be. And so that's one way to do pricing. Another way to do pricing, I'll show you by embroidery, is to do it by stitches, right? So 5,000 stitches, 6,000 stitches, 7,000 stitches. Based on the quantity, you can mark them up a different percent. If you want to do less of a markup because they're doing more pieces, you can say, I only want to mark up by 125% when they're ordering over 5,000 pieces right there. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us about pricing. It does take a while to figure out, but it is really, really simple. We try to make it as simple as possible. I also have a lot of different examples for how we do pricing in our shop. If you do need any help, feel free to reach out to us at any point. Finally, in the back end of Printavo, you're going to be able to see your expenses that you incur if you'd like to add them in. So say you buy ink. Whenever one of your production managers buys ink, you can say ink and they can add a date there. Or you can go to a specific job and you can actually add an expense directly to that job. So say I bought 48 Gildan 5000s, say they were $2 a piece. I can say cost of goods, invoice from SNS 33333, and I hit it on that day. So now you can actually start to see how much money you're making per job. Say you needed to pay commission on this job, you can put that in there. And what you can start to see in your analytics is how your revenue versus your expenses are panning out. Okay, and you can do that from a specific date. Very basic tool to see some basic profit and loss on your jobs. It is one feature that I started doing on every single job. After the product is ordered, they enter in exactly how much it was. Gives us a rough idea of how we're doing, if we're pricing right, just for some basic metrics. If you look at analytics in depth, there are different analytics that you can get. You can get total sales in general. You can figure out sales by users. You can figure out sales by line items. I like sales by users because I have salespeople that use Printavo, so I can see from a given point how much Joe Smith sold, or how much Bruce sold, how much he quoted out, completed, etc., etc., etc. So that's a very, very basic overview of how analytics work. Overall, I mean, the goal of Printavo is to simplify your shop, and as you can see in just 30-40 minutes, we're able to really set a shop up and get everyone on board. Really, the next step of this is getting people to start using it in your shop. In my shop, with several different machines, with embroidery, with banner printing, with screen printing, autos, manuals, with students using this, everyone is on Printavo and lives and breathes by it. So hopefully you were able to see how simple it is to set up in just under 30 minutes. Hopefully I covered everything, all the basics for today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. There's also this support button right here in the bottom right hand corner that Bruce and his team are working on. They'll respond to you very quickly. You can call them if you have any questions. Anything else, feel free to reach out to us. It was a pleasure hopefully showing you this. Hopefully it was super helpful, and hopefully you have no problem signing up with Printavo. Thanks so much.